Hello, everybody. Welcome into a Thursday edition of the Computer America Show, a little behind-the-scenes pre-sneak peek here on our live Computer America video streaming page. And we'll be starting in about a little bit over 2 minutes. We're going to be talking about the demo conference with the demo conference's executive producer, Eric Schoenfeld. And then, of course, in hour 2, we'll have Computer and Technology News brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. So sit back, relax, enjoy the ride and the show, and we'll be starting shortly.
2 minutes until showtime.
In exactly 2 minutes, as you just heard. Chat room's picking up a little pace.
One minute until showtime.
Looks like my clock is trailing about 1 second behind the Blog Talk Radio clock, Ben. Not sure. Yeah, it's okay. Not worried about it. Okay, 30 seconds. You calling in to do for the pulse meeting? Okay. Here we go.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And it's Thursday. All right. 1 day before Friday.
Not a lot of fanfare for Thursday since, Friday's right there.
Yeah, I know. We say the big fanfare for Friday, but we're getting close, and we got a great show, of course, planned for you tonight. In hour 2, we have Computer and Technology News brought to you by Slimware Utilities. They are the official optimization software of Computer America, so that's coming up in hour 2. And before we start the show, I usually like to ask you, Ben, how was school today?
Well, went well.
Yeah, it went well. Okay. Well, you got finals coming up shortly, right? So the next.
Yeah, this weekend. So, as many of you with who are associated in some way with a college student, about now they should be, guzzling caffeine and freaking out, and going into finals mode.
Finals mode. Yes. Okay. Well, best of luck to all of you who do that, who are in school. Okay, well then we got a lot to talk about, so I guess we should just get started here. Our guest this hour is with something called the Demo Conference, and I like the Demo Conferences in the United States, China, Brazil, Russia, and Vietnam focus on emerging technologies and new product innovations. We thought they would be a perfect fit for what we do here on Computer America. The demo conferences have earned the reputation for consistently identifying tomorrow's cutting-edge technologies, helping them to secure venture funding, establish critical business relationships, and influence early adopters. The Demo Scholarship Partner Program, subsidized by corporate sponsorships, offer multiple scholarship opportunities to ensure that deserving entrepreneurs have the chance to introduce cutting-edge technology products at Demo that might have otherwise gone undiscovered. Joining us tonight is the Demo Conference's executive producer, Eric Schoenfeld. Eric, welcome into Computer America. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. So, the Demo I have to be upfront. I had not heard of, I mean, I hear of CES and all that, but I actually hadn't heard of the Demo Conference. How long has this been going on?
So Demo has been going on for 24 years. We're going to have our 25th anniversary next year. I'm actually the fourth executive producer. So my background is I'm a longtime technology journalist. I was the editor of TechCrunch.
Oh, yeah.
I like them.
So you might have heard of some of those. I worked at Fortune Magazine. And I had some experience with conferences, and when I left TechCrunch in 2012, I was approached by Demo to become the fourth executive producer, and it has a storied history of going all the way back to many of the products and companies that you are familiar with in the technology space have debuted first on the Demo stage. So companies like Evernote, Waze, TiVo,
sure.
Salesforce, in the enterprise space, VMware, the list goes on and on. E-Trade. Wow. So we have this great storied history of amazing products that have launched on our stage, and I've been trying to keep that going, basically.
So you've been and you've been executive producer now, and so are you implementing any changes, or have you changed it in any way?
Yes, definitely. There's been a lot of changes. 25 years ago, there were no launch conferences. Today, there's a launch event every week, and it's not just conferences, but it's incubators and VC firms. They all have these demo days. They're calling them demo days. So it's kind of like in a way that's it's flattering because we've become the Kleenex of the the space, but that also makes my job a little bit harder because A, there's a lot more competition, and B, there's a lot more noise. And so what I've done is I've really focused on finding the signal from the noise and finding the very best companies, the companies that are using technologies to solve really big, hard problems that really stand out. And then also I've introduced some new parts to the program, which we can talk about. So for instance, I've instituted this whole founder school part of the program where serial entrepreneurs and investors like Peter Thiel, who just spoke at our last conference, or Alan Kay at the conference in April, come and talk and give some not so much advice, but their perspective on how to build great products and how to build great startups.
Well, now let me ask you this. I mean, certainly there are a lot of other things. Are people invited to the Demo conference, or do they pay to? I mean, like CES, you buy a booth, and I mean, how are these vendors? How do they come to the Demo conference?
So the companies that launch at Demo, they have to apply. So we have hundreds and hundreds of applications, and then they need to be invited. And I actually do a demo tour where I go all around the world 6 months prior to each event, and I meet with about a dozen or so of these applicants at places like venture capital firms or incubators, and they come and show me either their products or their prototypes, what they're working on. And it gives me a really good sense of not only what they're working on and how real it might be, but their presentation skills as well. And I get most of my companies through that process.
All right. So obviously you it almost feels like a little bit like a Shark Tank, where they make their presentation to you, and you say, okay, I think this is really great, and you should be here, or I mean, is that sort of like what happens? I mean, is there a panel of judges or something that determine?
Yeah, it's like Shark Tank, but without the infomercial feel to it. A lot of the products that go on Shark Tank, could and indeed do end up on infomercials, which is fine, and a lot of them have been very successful. That's not our focus. Our focus is more on real technology products and startups that can scale and that can solve really hard problems. And yes, there is when you do come and launch on stage, it's a live demo. So you are launching your product live. There's no slides, no videos, no vaporware. It either works or it doesn't, and that's a very that's a difficult thing to do. And we work with the companies in terms of rehearsing and making sure all of the technical aspects of it, go smoothly.
So there's no glitter, no showbiz kind of thing going on. They're just going up there and they're doing their thing, and that's it.
And there's a panel of judges that then give them feedback.
Right.
So there are the leading venture capitalists and other founders. Who then who are seeing the product for the first time, and then give them feedback right after their launch.
Now, and that's part of the demo. This is not the pre-stuff. This is at the actual demo conference itself, or is this the?
That's what happens at the event itself. On the demo tour, which is how I pick the companies.
Got it.
Those are more private meetings. I spend the whole day. I do back-to-back meetings for like half an hour each, and spend more time with the founders.
I'm getting the picture here now. So there's no glitzy stuff going on in the background, no dancing girls, nothing. It's just basically it's the product. The product has to stand on its merit. Maybe a little music, or not even that. It's just is it pretty much cold? They just come on and show the product, and that's it.
Well, we do have a beautiful stage that's very well lit, and it's filmed, and
right.
We put a lot of effort into that. We have a great production company. Some companies have been known to bring dancing bears, and in fact, one of the big standouts of this show was Steve Wozniak is involved with a new company called Primary Data, and they launched at demo, and they were having a little fun with their demo. They had a guy streaking across the stage, and then a guy in a gorilla suit. And so we do have some people do use theater is allowed.
Well, if the Woz was there, I would think that would go unsaid. I think that he's an interesting person.
He's such a great. I think of him as sort of there's two types of people in Silicon Valley. They're epitomized by Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, right? Mm-hmm. Steve Jobs is sort of the iconic businessman, the salesman, the person who he brings the product to market and convinces the world of how important it is. Mm-hmm. But just as important, and maybe not as well, maybe a little bit less put on a pedestal, is the engineer who actually builds the product and makes it work. And they're both sides of that equation. And so it was a real honor to have him on stage and be able to talk to him a little bit. Afterwards, I kept him after his presentation. I kept him on stage and asked him a few questions that were unrelated to his startup. And that was fun. And there's a video if you look on YouTube, DemoConf, we have a whole channel, and you can find it.
Did you ask me if he had any extra Apple Ones lying around that you could have?
No, but it was interesting. He had a very analog watch on, and I was asking him, why he didn't have the Apple Watch, and he claimed it's because it's not out yet. But I didn't get the sense that he was really super excited about the Apple Watch. He was super excited about the the larger Apple 6 and 6 Plus, which is something that he'd been really sort of pining after a larger screen for a while. So I think he was happy about that.
Well, let's get to it. Let's talk about some of the more you might think the more far out products that launched at demo this year.
Sure. So we have we launched 40 new products on stage, and it was a mix of both consumer and enterprise, everything from wearables to enterprise to cloud, Internet of Things, hardware as well as software. And some of the ones that are a little bit more fun are always, the hardware companies, which we've been seeing a lot more hardware companies in the past few years. It's this resurgence of hardware, because what used to take tens of millions of dollars to get a product out the door, now you can build a hardware product with a Kickstarter campaign. Certainly it's still a bit more expensive than a software product, but with a few $100,000 or maybe $1 million, you can get something out the door that's potentially world changing. Some of the things that we saw, we had a guy who has built a new drone that has one of the issues with drones is that they only fly for about 25 minutes. So
Yeah.
he actually, the innovation, the problem that he solved was he actually built a new engine, a hybrid engine for drones, which will keep these up for more than 2 hours. So he has the world record for keeping one of those quadcopter drones up. And his market is really more industrial uses, but all of that stuff trickles down to the consumer.
Right.
There was a smart fabric company that they've created this smart fabric that they can make into dresses or bras or even socks. So that for e-commerce, they can send if your wife is shopping for something or you're shopping for something and you're not exactly sure of your size. This is more an issue with women who maybe they know their size, but a size 6 in one brand is not a size 6 in another. So they can try this on and gives an exact measurement because of there's it's not just fabric, but there's a special thread inside the fabric which they can put an electrical current through, and it gives an exact measurement of the three-dimensional body, which is a big problem people have been trying to solve for a long time.
Exactly. I'm glad that technology is stepping up and fixing the ever tough problem of getting a standard size,
But it's not standard. That's the problem. So we're a bunch of guys, so we don't care. Like, we know that I'm a size 16 shirt. I always buy a size 16 shirt, or 32 pants, and it pretty much always fits. But for women, it's actually a size 6 dress in J. Crew is not a size 6 dress in Banana Republic or you name some other brand. And so there is a size is not a size is not a size. That's changed actually. So some other things that have launched that I think were a little eye-opening is we had a lot of Internet of Things products, right? So and I think of Internet of Things in 3 buckets, right? There's basically the wearables. Anything that's a wearable is an Internet of Things. Any connected device that goes beyond a mobile phone. There's smart home types of devices, so things like the Nest, and we actually had one of the co-founders of Nest talking about what they've been working on and how he thinks about the Internet of Things. Does the Internet of Things need a central hub, or does it not need a central hub? That's sort of an interesting sort of architectural question for engineers. And then there's the industrial Internet of Things, and we saw companies launch products across that. One of the companies that won, we give out awards to 5 companies every show, and we call them the Demo Gods.
Okay.
One of the companies that won the Demo God was a company from Austin called Curb, and they have a device that it's installed at your electrical panel.
Mm-hmm.
And once it's installed, it can basically monitor and track all the energy usage across in your entire home.
Yeah.
And it's smart enough to read the electrical signature of different appliances and devices, so it can tell you that your refrigerator is really taking up a lot of energy, or that space heater that you paid $20 for is actually costing you $200 a year in electricity usage.
Yeah.
And so, we waste so much energy in our homes, but one of the big reasons for that is because we just don't know we we get one big bill and we don't know really, what's causing the energy usage. Is it because we have so many electronics that are always being charged and plugged in? Is it because the TV's always on? And so now this is sort of a first step to getting a little bit of visibility into that, and then once you can measure something, you can do something about it. So that was really interesting.
It is really good. If you have a comment or question or suggestion about anything we're talking in this hour, give us a call at 347-884-8881. 347-884-8881. I'll get you through. Ben and I are talking to Eric Schoenfeld. He is the executive producer of the demo conference, and so any emerging trends in technology that might have been uncovered at the conference, Eric?
I think that there's a lot of trends that we see. I mean, just in terms of the categories that we pick, those are based on not just the fact that I found a great product or a great founder, but also that I was seeing sort of a pattern emerging. So for instance, Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been a big theme in the past few years, and I started seeing not just a lot of Bitcoin companies. If you actually look at the Bitcoin companies that are out there, and for people who may not be familiar with Bitcoin, it's a peer-to-peer currency that's based on cryptography, and so it's a trustless system. There's no central bank that has to issue this currency. It's all based on what's called the blockchain, which is sort of an algorithm that other people can verify whether a transaction has occurred. It's like a virtual ledger.
Right. We talk about it all the time here on the program. Go ahead.
Okay, terrific. So what's interesting about Bitcoin is that there's been a million sort of Bitcoin wallets and kind of very basic functionality companies that have emerged, but now what we're seeing are new types of services that are being built on top of the blockchain. So if you think of the blockchain as this ledger, it's good not just for transactions, but for things like smart contracts, for things like escrow services, things like remittances, and there is opportunity, of course, in things like exchanges as well. So one of the companies that launched, Obsidian, is going to be the first exchange for Bitcoin that's actually domiciled in the United States. Yeah. So all the Bitcoin exchanges are in places like China and in Asia and overseas, and a lot of larger institutional investors have stayed away from trading in Bitcoin because of the risk of, look at what happened to Mt. Gox, if you remember. That was one of the big Bitcoin exchanges that just sort of disappeared, right? So something that's domiciled in the U.S. at least has some safeguards, and they have an agreement with a United States bank that allows them to do that. So that's that could really help kind of open up Bitcoin trading to a whole nother class of economic actors. We had these two 17-year-olds who launched a company. I mean, every year we have college students, but this is the first time we've had high school students who have launched a company. Really super smart kids from Boston who have created a way to use Bitcoin as an escrow service for e-commerce. So you buy something from an e-commerce site, maybe in overseas in China or in Russia, and maybe it's not Amazon, so you don't really want to give them your credit card, and you don't want to give them your money until the product shows up. So the way that this service works, an e-commerce provider could put this on the site. You pay, and the money, the Bitcoins, are not released until the package arrives at your house. So they plug into the APIs of like FedEx or UPS, really clever. And when the package is delivered, that sends out a signal to FedEx's servers and UPS's servers, which is an API call that's available to this service. That's confirmation that it arrived. And then when that happens, the rest of the Bitcoin is delivered to the e-commerce provider.
Wow.
Just super clever stuff. Then another company called Smart Contract, which is using Bitcoin to verify other types of contracts. And and then there was a company called HelloBit, which is doing it for international money transfers. So you have a family in India and you're working here in the United States. Instead of paying Western Union 9 or 12% to do that, you do it through HelloBit, and it's the way that they do it is very clever because they're not assuming that your mother or your brother in India knows how to use Bitcoin, but they want to build out a sort of a network of human ATMs, people who are exchangers essentially, and they receive the Bitcoin, and then they deliver the money minus their fees in the local currency to the person that you're trying to send the money to.
It sounds to me like Bitcoin was really big over there at the demo conference.
It was huge, and the judges who were on that panel were really very interested in it, and we could have had like a half day on Bitcoin. It's so interesting. But then there's other things that are happening as well. Like, for instance, I already mentioned the Internet of Things. We had an Internet of Things session, but we also had other products that could have been in that session as well. And if you think about the Internet of Things, right, we've had computing moving from laptops to mobile devices, and now from mobile devices to other smaller devices and other more disparate networks. And this is all, I like to think of it as kind of the cell phone dividend, right? All the chips and sensors that go into your cell phone. Since we're making billions of these cell phones, the cost to produce these components has come down at scale. And so now if I'm a hardware startup guy and I need a gyroscope or I need some other component that's already standard in a cell phone, the cost of that has come down 10x in the past few years, and now I can put that in my wearable device or I can put that in my smart home device, and now you're seeing this whole explosion of new digitally connected devices that take advantage of those components.
And these components, obviously, because their initial design was for say smartphones or something, and now they have a surplus of them, or they're readily available, and they're saying they want to find other people to use.
Why not put them in your toaster?
Huh?
Why not put them in your toaster? That's a good question, right?
The orientation of the toast. You see, if it's left, right, you'll be able to tell.
they are in your toaster. Open up a brand new toaster from GE, and I think you'll be surprised at how much the electronics in there.
Yeah. Maybe have a GPS location in your toaster now. So if you misplace your toaster, you can always find it.
Exactly right.
And one thing about the Internet of Things that we actually reported on a while ago, and I'm not sure if you saw anyone tackling this problem at demo, but people are wanting to connect all these devices into this into the cloud, the Internet of Things, and yet security seems second and or not even thought about. Like, did you have anyone there showcasing how to secure all these devices, or was it just, hey, look at all the stuff we can connect to the cloud?
Well, security is a huge issue, and we didn't have a company that was focused specifically on security for Internet of Things, although there are startups that are focused on that. But each of the startups that were developing Internet of Things devices, is aware of that and is trying to incorporate security into their product. And certainly, we have a lot of CIOs who come to demo from large Fortune 500 companies, and that's very important to them. And they're a great part of the audience because they're kind of the reality check, right, for a lot of this stuff. And they're actually there looking for innovation that they can implement in their organizations. And if it doesn't have security, and if it doesn't, sort of scale to the level that they need, it's just not going to go anywhere. So yeah, that's definitely an issue. Although we didn't have a company that specifically addressed that.
There are a lot of big companies. I know about 2 months ago we have Intel on our show as one of our sponsors. They're on every month, and like 2 months ago they had someone speaking about the Internet of Things and what Intel is doing in there. So there are a lot of the big companies are involved with this concept as well, as smaller ones. It's that kind of a category where anyone and everyone can get involved. And
right, and there is this question of does the Internet of Things require a hub, right? So if you have all of these devices, and whether it's in your factory, and we actually had the chief manufacturing scientist of GE come and do a workshop, and it ended up being a lot about the Internet of Things. They're trying to create this brilliant factory where they have sensors and they're tracking everything that goes through the factory and the throughput, and they're trying to improve that. And a lot of the issues that you raised were raised in that workshop about security and about scalability, etc. But there is this issue of we call it the Internet of Things, right? And so you assume that it's connected to the actual Internet, and sometimes it is, but it doesn't have to be. And in some cases, you might not even want it to be connected to the actual Internet. So today, for something to be connected to the actual Internet wirelessly, right, you need to have a Wi-Fi chip. Well, a Wi-Fi chip takes a lot more power than other types of communications chips. And sometimes all you need is for the things to talk to each other within a factory or a house or an environment. So as long as they talk to each other, they don't necessarily have to talk to a larger network. I personally think that the value of all these things will grow exponentially if they are connected to the network, because then, if you just think about all the things that are connected to the Internet today, which are billions of things, if you connect all these Internet of Things, you're going to get to trillions of things, and then we don't even know what's going to come after that. But there is this whole debate about whether or not they need to connect to the Internet at all, or if they should talk to each other in a peer-to-peer fashion, and they're all equal, or if there should be a hub, right? Like we have one of the co-founders of Nest there, and Nest definitely wants to be the hub in your house of the Internet of Things.
Yep, it sure is.
But it doesn't have to be, and it also wants to play well with other devices, and it's happy to be a peer-to-peer as well as a hub.
Sure. All right, Eric, listen, we're at the bottom of the hour, and we're going to take a little break here, and we'll continue on. We're talking to Eric Schoenfeld. He's the executive producer at the Demo Conference. Again, give us a call at 347-884-8881. We'll get you on and get you through. You're listening to the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the Boost Radio Network, on the IRN Radio Network. We're going to take a short break. We've got a News Tips Polls review by Marty Winston. That's all coming up. Stay tuned for more Computer America.
Hey everyone, have you heard about the No Hair Removal device that's sweeping the globe? If you want to go weeks without shaving and get smooth, professional quality results, here's our favorite host, Cheryl, for No Hair Removal.
Thanks. Hey gals, I love talking about my No. It's this cute little hair removal system that you can take with you and use almost anywhere at home or on the road. No more expensive in-office treatments, painful waxing, and no more wasting your valuable time. Got unwanted facial hair? No has patented Thermocon technology that works on all hair and skin colors, so it's perfect for using on all body parts. And now you can take advantage of this incredible risk-free trial. Get the No, the facial kit, a travel case, and a $100 discount shopping card, and you don't risk a penny to try it. Try the incredible No hair completely risk-free. Call 1-800-953-5415. That's 800-953-5415. 800-953-5415.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
Hello, this is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the 180S LED light gloves. Warm meets cool in these 180S winter gloves. Start with all 10 fingers being compatible with device touchscreens. Add a little pouch on the back of each wrist that pockets a small rubber capsule containing a pair of coin cells, a controller board, and a switch. Each connects to a white LED in a housing about midway between the index finger's bottom knuckles. You press the button once for a steady light, again for a blinking light, and again turn it on. The gloves themselves are a mix of polyester, polyurethane, spandex, and cotton. Nice and warm and a good snug fit. Bottom line, 180S all-finger touchscreen gloves with built-in LED lights are the warmest and coolest wearable tech we've encountered. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. Have you noticed how Marty Winston tends to focus, like, he didn't bring those gloves out in the summertime.
No, he didn't.
He focuses his reviews, to be seasonal and appropriate. I like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And then the second one is sort of like along those lines too. It's from the same company.
Maybe more of those companies just come out this time of year just to, kind of, oh, yeah, I'll grab that. But yeah, no, in the first hour tonight we have Eric Schonfield here with us, and, we're talking about the demo conference and what we're seeing out there, and we were just kind of wrapping up the Internet of Things and how there were a lot of products out there. And I mean, Eric,
Bitcoin
do you
too.
think that...
Bitcoin too. Yeah, it was big.
Bitcoin too, but with the Internet of Things and I guess Bitcoin too. Do you think probably more with the Internet of Things, like next year? Do you think you're going to see more along the same lines? Like because this whole concept of the Internet of Things is maybe a year old at this point. So do you think people are just kind of getting into it, and then in the next couple years it's going to get even stronger, or is it just a passing whimsy?
Well, Eric, you have to unmute yourself. You muted.
Sorry about that. A bad habit. So, no, this is something that actually has been going on for more than a year. Although I agree in terms of hearing about it. It's been about a year, past 2 years, that it's really kind of entered the kind of the lexicon. But it's just growing stronger and stronger every year, and it's one of these fundamental trends, right? That's you can just see what's driving it, and it's it's Moore's law. It's like Moore's law just keeps going to smaller and smaller devices, and once the power of computing and can reach devices at an economic price point, right? All of a sudden, all these different little objects. You can put sensors in them, and you can put communications chips in them, and then that really changes how you think about putting them, building products, and not just building products, but how do you scatter these across a campus, a building, the world, and just like the internet has changed the way we communicate as people, right? I think that the Internet of Things also has an implication for how we measure our bodies. So there's a personal aspect to it. So I think all wearables are essentially part of the Internet of Things, but that's just one component of it. That's just one bucket. It's also, you have to think about if you have this vast sensor network, if you can measure the world and can get feedback from the world in almost like a machine-to-machine communication, and all that is available to you as a consumer or as a business person, what then is possible, right? So that you were seeing this. It's part of what I see as like the merging of the physical and the virtual, the physical and the digital worlds. We've seen that with mobile phones a lot, where we take basically these computers with all these sensors out into the world, and now what's the data that spits back? Well, with Waze, you see real-time traffic. With things like Uber, you can order a car, or things like Instacart, you can order food delivery to wherever you happen to be. and that's all because the computing is kind of infusing the real world, and that's just going to continue to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Now, you have something called the Demo Challenge. What is the Demo Challenge?
So this is something that it was new that we just tried this year, and it was really successful. What we did was we asked some business leaders, like the chief manufacturing scientist of GE, like the chief digital officer of American Eagle, and like the CIO of American Securities, to come up with a problem that they want technology to solve, and then the workshop was like a big brainstorming session, because our attendees are really, a lot of them could be up on stage as well. They're super smart founders, CIOs, executives, venture capitalists, and then they put together kind of what we call an opportunity map, where they mapped out all the different technologies that address those problems and the white space where new technologies and new products could really help solve that problem. And it was really sort of fascinating to sort of see that. And then they ended up with these these slides that we presented on the main stage, which I actually have to put it on our blog because I want to share it with the wider audience and tweet them out, because what they found was, I think, a really great, almost a blueprint for, if there's a company out there that could solve that problem. Those problems, those are big companies.
Yeah. So you issued this challenge, and you started this year. Any takers to any of the challenges yet?
Well, it was just 2 weeks ago, so we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see in our next event. Actually, our next event is a little bit different. It's going to be in April. It's called Demo Traction, and we experimented with some of this in November. We had some of these traction sessions. So if you think about demo, historically has been about launching companies, and that's still our bread and butter. But what's really important to investors, companies, employees are companies that have traction, companies that are growing, and so we're starting to explore that, and we're going to explore that in an entirely new conference in April in San Francisco. And some of the things that we did in November is we brought the CEOs of companies that are growing wildly, like, for instance, the CEO of Slack, Stuart Butterfield, who was one of the co-founders of Flickr. He has this really amazing company that is used for internal communications in teams and companies, and they just raised like $120 million. They're growing so fast.
Woo.
And Wealthfront, which is another Silicon Valley company that is doing wealth management, and they've gotten like up to like way past I think they're at 1.4 or 1.6 billion dollars under assets, and they did that in 3 years. So they got to $1 billion in assets in less than half the time it took Schwab to get to $1 billion in assets, just to give you a sense of how fast they're growing.
Oh my.
Or the CEO of Tango. Tango is a video chat application that works both on Android and on iPhone, and they have like more than 250 million users, right? So it's like one of these communication apps that's just like taken off, and has like a huge user base. And all these CEOs, they shared with us kind of their journey. So I made them give me a traction chart, right? Like a chart that goes up and to the right and shows how fast they're growing with real metrics. But then they use that to basically tell the story of their companies. And so what was the drivers of that growth? What were some of the hurdles along the way? What were the things that they tried before they hit the S part of the curve? And what was it that they learned that allowed them to grow so fast? And hopefully by bringing those types of people on stage, the founders of the companies that are just launching, maybe they get some insight into how they can become one of those companies as well.
Wow. A lot of different things that you're doing there. In addition to this, also you have this is not only consumers products. You also have enterprise. Seems to be a big theme there too. Talk a little bit about what's going on I'm not talking about the Starship. I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. As I mentioned, about half the products are enterprise products or business products.
Yeah.
And some of them. So your audience might be familiar with a company called Ghostery, which is an add-on to your browser that shows you who's tracking you. It's a privacy add-on, and I think the most famous user of Ghostery is Edward Snowden. But what they've done is they've launched
he should have done an endorsement, and speaking for Ghostery is Edward Snowden. I use Ghostery, and I would recommend. I could see him being he can make some bucks that way, kind of endorse the product.
He actually endorsed it he wasn't paid for it, but he mentioned it in one of his interviews, I think like at South by Southwest, and it turned out to be an endorsement, but the company didn't have to pay for it.
He needs to get a business manager, obviously.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, no, those are good endorsements. But what they're doing is they packaged and they launched an entirely new product that is for companies, for enterprises, right? So let's say that you're a publisher or a retailer, you have a website, and you don't know all of the code that's necessarily on your site, because if you have advertising tags that you put on your site, you could have all sorts of code from all sorts of different companies that is either slowing down your site, it's a security hole, or it's potential data leakage, and companies just can't keep track of it. So what they did was they built a tool that allows any webmaster to kind of see what are all of the companies, the advertising companies and tracking companies, everything that are on their site. Some of them should be there because they have commercial relationships with them. Some of them are duplicative, and it allows them to finally have a view of it and see if there's any data leakage or any or if it's slowing down their site, right? So I thought that was sort of a fascinating enterprise company that we put in what we call the smart data session. So the people are talking about big data, but really what they want is smart data. They want data that's going to make them more actionable, right? And here's an example of there's just so much information even on one website that people can't keep track of it, and so products and services that help you manage it more are going to do well.
So let's take a little time here and talk a little bit about school. I understand that Peter Thal actually gave a Founder School talk. What is the Founder School that you're doing?
The Founder School is sort of a keynote talk that helps the founders and people learn about how to build businesses, how to build startups. And his talk was about how to build the future. And Peter Thiel is he was one of the founders of he was the first CEO of PayPal and founder of PayPal. He was the first outside money investor to invest in Facebook. So he was like the angel investor in Facebook, which ended up doing very well. But he's also invested in a lot of other companies as well, like Spotify, like Palantir, which is a big, huge company in Silicon Valley, and he's this very contrarian thinker. He doesn't. For instance, he thinks actually that that competition is actually something to be avoided if you're a startup. Really, what you want is you want to be in a market where you are, the best or the only person, because the only company because it's a new market. But then once you get big, then you're a monopoly. But when you're a startup, you're not a monopoly, right? But all the companies that ended up being monopoly or monopolies or could be accused of being monopolies today, like think about Microsoft or Google or even Amazon, right? When they get big enough, they try to define themselves as being in a very competitive market, right? Because they don't want people to focus on the fact that they control all of search or they control a big chunk of online commerce, right? They're not just a search company. They're putting up
Yep.
balloons for internet access, right? Which is a different market. But when you're a startup, if you can actually, be more like a monopoly, your chances of success, will increase, as opposed to being in a super competitive market where your margins will be eaten away, or you'll just be destroyed by another player.
So who else gave a founder school talk? Not only Peter Thiel, but
right. So
else?
we had Steve Papa, who is a demo alum. He started a company called Endeca, which was sold to Oracle for $1 billion. And Endeca, was started back in 2001, and was a leader in sort of enterprise search, and a lot of the things that we sort of take for granted in search today, they were actually pioneers of, and then they sort of morphed into this kind of business intelligence company because they had this amazing database product, which is why Oracle bought them. But his talk was really interesting because he had lived through not one but two downturns, right? The post 2001 collapse of the dot-com bubble, and then after 2008, the financial collapse. And so his big piece of advice was know the context of the person that's giving you the advice, right? So if you're going to listen to him, you should know that he's a guy who's lived, through the valley of death twice, right? So
Yeah.
he's got a different perspective on the world than somebody who's just, created a company and lived through the good times, or somebody who's just lived through the bad times. And so that was, getting somebody like that who has that experience and came out the other side. It's just sort of invaluable to hear somebody talk. And you can listen to all of these presentations on YouTube. If you just Google demo YouTube, we have a whole YouTube channel.
Sure. Well, so now the actual demo conference was held when?
November 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th.
Okay, and
in San Jose. We took over the San Jose Convention Center.
Yeah.
We had 1,000 people there, and we had, we had these launches. We had workshops. We had a big party. They have this huge tent behind the convention center. We had these motorcycle guys doing these amazing jumps, which was fun. It's a launch conference, so they were launching.
Evel Knievel kind of action. Now, but this is not open to the public, right? I mean.
Oh yeah, sure. You could come.
You can. Okay. Anybody?
Buy a ticket. Buy a ticket. You can come.
What's the ticket?
Okay, so you can come and you can look and you can listen to all the presentations, but you can't walk in the door and say, I've been thinking about this electronic sponge for a while now. This seems like a good place.
Right, exactly. You need to be, if you want to present,
yeah.
I boil it down to 40 companies over 2 days. Those need to be invited, but you can register to attend. And
what does the ticket typically cost to go to the demo conference?
I think it's $2,000, but if you buy it early, you get an early bird discount, so you could get it for much less.
Wow, so this is not somebody off the street who wants to say, hey, this looks interesting, let me go see it. It's $10-15, but it's like not going to a movie.
No, it's not. It's a pretty high-end conference.
I would understand, and I want our listeners to understand that. Now, when is the next demo conference slated to launch, and where?
So our next event is actually a new conference that's focused on traction. It's called Demo Traction. And so it won't be launches. It'll be focused on companies that are gaining traction, companies that want to gain traction. And that's going to be in San Francisco, April 22nd, I believe. And we're going to bring together, companies that are growing with enterprises, CIOs, technology buyers, people who can actually help them, keep growing. So you go to these conferences and there's investors there and there's press and all those people will be there. But what you really need as a startup is you need customers. And so that's what we're going to try and deliver.
Well, that's why these people are attending, because you can bring or have the connections to bring the people who can do something for them to these conferences and actually see this. And I mean, the obvious attraction to makes it desirable to be invited to present at the demo conferences is that you're looking at a lot of opportunity to enhance your product or service, whatever you're talking about.
Exactly, and there's a lot of different opportunities to do that, whether that's meeting the CIO of Harley Davidson or FedEx or Intel. The CIO of Intel is actually on the demo CIO council, and or we had about 100 press there, so you can get attention from press, you can get attention from investors. Different companies have different goals, right? Some people are looking for money, some companies are looking for customers, and some people are looking for all the above.
Right, exactly. Well, that's what we do here at Computer America. We're the press, we're the media, and we bring attention. So we're sort of like bringing attention to the people who get the attention. Sort of what we're doing here.
Yeah, no, definitely. Don't listen to me. Go and check out all these companies and check them out. It's really, I'm here to be their champion. And there was a lot of great. We could talk more about. There's a lot of great mobile companies. There were a lot of great companies that help you build your own startup. So we had this company called Shoebox. A lot of really smart guys from Boston that they kind of automate the whole process of papering your company. There's a lot of documentation that needs to happen when you start a company and get investors and all that, and they've automated that whole process. So there's all these processes in companies, both big and small, that are still paper-based and therefore are inefficient. So there's still all these opportunities for that. There was a great mobile company called Skill Pocket that is like a marketplace for engineers, designers, creative folks. And so you could either you could put your profile on there if you want to offer your services, or if you're looking for somebody to work on a project, you can do that as well. And it ties into your social network, so it gives you recommendations of people who you might have some sort of social connection to.
Now, you mentioned the demo gods earlier on in the show. Who were the demo gods? Did you actually?
Yeah. So there were 5 demo gods, and the demo gods are based on the votes of the judges and the audience and the staff, and it's based on 3 criteria. It's based on who has the best product, who has the best presentation, and who has the best market opportunity. So I've already mentioned a couple of the demo gods. Curb, the energy management company, was one. Right. Ghostery Enterprise was another one that helps companies manage their marketing cloud. There was a company called PathSense that was really interesting. There used to be an app, I don't know if you remember, called Trapster, that was a mobile app that told you where the speed traps were.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. And so when these guys built this, they ran into a problem that a lot of mobile app developers have, which is that the GPS is the biggest battery drain on your mobile phone. Mm-hmm. And so what they've come up with is a way to have navigation that's just as accurate as GPS without using GPS.
Like cell tower triangulation type of thing, technology?
It doesn't use cell tower. So
okay.
The battery drain is when you use those. When you use the chips that are those communication chips,
yeah.
Especially when you're driving in a car and you're going from one cell tower to another, yeah. That's what drains the battery. So instead, what they do is they use something called inertial navigation. So based on where the direction and momentum that you're going in, and their knowledge already of the roads, they're able to estimate where you are on the road without actually relying on GPS.
That's very cool. Yeah.
It's a huge problem, right? And they're solving that.
Is it pretty accurate? I would think it would be. Yeah.
It's their demo. They demoed versus GPS, and it was, I would say, they claim
close,
within 90-something% accuracy.
Wow.
I think that's going to have to be tested over time. But if they can do that, then they're going to be. It's just a clever hack, right? Nobody's coming up with a better battery. Like battery technology is kind of limited by physics.
Yeah, I know. Well, at least for now it is.
For now, yeah.
It holds us back, and we talked about that till we're blue in the face about
right.
Find a quantum leap into the next generation of battery. Eric, we're pretty much out of time.
Okay.
It's been a lot of fun. Again, go to computeramerica.com. Click on our show notes button right there on our home page. It's right there in the middle of the screen, and it'll take you to our daily outline of who's going to be on the show. And you'll see today's show, December the 4th, and you'll see the demo conference, and the link is right up there, and that just stays up there forever. And you can go to the demo conference website and check it out for yourself, or just go to the site, which is the www.demo.com. Eric, I want to thank you for being here with us. Very enlightening, and best of luck to you on the April demo conference.
Okay, well, Craig and Ben, thanks a lot for having me. It was a lot of fun coming on your show.
I'm glad you had a good time. Thanks so much. All right.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. So coming up in hour 2, we're going to have computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities. Also, again, it's Thursday. You just have one more day. That's right. Tomorrow at midnight Eastern Time, the contest is over. The Logitech contest is over. That's right. And you need to go to our website. Go to our it says under the Interact menu. Check out the Logitech contest. 3 great prizes there. We're going to award them. First of all, we'll shut it down tomorrow night at midnight Eastern Time, and then over the weekend we'll pick 3 winning names, and then on Monday we'll announce the 3 big winners, and then we'll start another contest. But that means if you're going to wait, that's another 6 weeks or so, before we call out the next round of winners. So, why wait? Get your entry in now. Go to computeramerica.com. Go to our Logitech contest, and of course, also there is our show reminder winner. We're going to be announcing that tomorrow night as well. We do it every Friday. You put your first and last name and then your email. Just click the blue submit button. It'll send you a confirmation email to which you must reply. So you're subscribed to our newsletter. It's completely free, no obligation. And every Friday from that list of subscriber names, we draw a winning name to win that Logitech T650 rechargeable glass touchpad. Right, valued at $80. All right, well, we got another hour of the Computer America Show coming at you here at the Blog Talk Radio Network, the Boost Radio Network, the IRN Radio Network. We've got a lot of interesting news stories coming up, too, and we'll get to them. Another News Tips Bullet review from Marty Winston. That's all happening in hour 2 of the Computer America Show.
Broadcasting live. It's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America. Hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into hour 2 of the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And it was an interesting hour with the demo conference. I had not heard of it before. Had you?
I know, me either.
No, yeah, exactly. But it's been around for 25 years? Good grief, that's even longer than we were doing the show. And I thought we were the seniors around here. But yeah, anyway, if you missed any of it, you can listen to it again. We archive all of our shows at ComputerAmerica.com. Just go to the Archives pull-down menu, and you'll see every place where you can hear the Computer America Show again. Audio archives, iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, of course. We have the RSS feed. Even our videos are archived. We have our own YouTube channel. So you can watch the Computer America Show as not only listen to it. So all of our archives are there. And, of course, we've added something new on our homepage. I just like to talk. It's a little demo button now. So Carissa Green, associate producer and booking artist, put together a little demo of the show. So if you want to see that, we have that on our homepage at ComputerAmerica.com. So thanks to her for doing such a wonderful job. Really, I mean, she's like her own director, She Did you see the demo, Ben? It looks really good. No, I can't hear you.
Demo's good. If you want to see what the Computer America show is about, then
Yeah. She picked some highlights of different shows and did a compilation of them and kind of put them together.
of course, if you're listening like right now, you obviously know what the Computer America show is about, so
Yeah,
it might be redundant, but
get a smattering of what goes on. And it's again, you just go to computeramerica.com, click on the demo button, and she's got a little stage and a little curtain, and it's just, she did a very nice job. Transitions from one show to another.
it's like a little viewing room.
Yeah, a little viewing room. So, and again, thanks to Carissa Green, did a really super job for us here on Computer America. So, okay. So, anything else? We're going to go right to news.
Right to news. There are tons of news stories, so yeah, the more time we get to it, the better.
Yeah, but again, let me just tell you that when we're doing news, if you have a question or a comment, about anything that we're talking about, or you need some computer help, that's what we do here on the show. We try to help you. 347-884-8881. That's the number. 347.
You know what?
What?
347-884-8881. We're gonna help everyone out there who has a computer problem right now, and then we can get to the news.
Okay, well, we'll do that. Here we go.
Turn it off and turn it back on.
Tonight's Computer and Technology News is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system absolutely free. That's right, no charge. Everything at the Slimware Utilities website is completely free. Download them all. They all work, full of implementation. You don't have to upgrade them, anything of that nature. They just work. Download all of them. They'll make your computer truly run faster. It'll optimize it. Just do a great job, and it's all free. You'll be happy that you did so, and you'll thank us for it. SlimwareUtilities.com. So go for it. What's your first story?
Definitely. Hey, just want to do a quick announcement. The 19th of December, that's our last show before the end of the year, right?
I believe so. Yes, the 19th of December. You're correct. Yep.
Okay. Okay, just want to get that out there. Just want, people try to tune in the 21st or the 22nd and be like, why is there no Computer America? Oh, no.
Well, that's a good point. I'm glad that you mentioned it. First of all, they tuned on the 21st. That's a Sunday, so that wouldn't be. But the 22nd and through the week of the 29th, we will be coming back on January. Actually, January the 5th. Yes, we return Monday, and we're back. So that's the only time we take about 2 weeks off Computer America. We take a 2-week hiatus of the show, and my understanding is we're not going to do a total blackout. What we'll do is I think we'll do best of shows for those 2 weeks. We'll just do a slate of best of shows and kind of queue them up so you can hear them. And
but no interaction from the audience because, of course, it will not be live shows.
It will not be live. And then the interaction comes back on the 5th of January, and when we return to the show live. So thanks for mentioning that. Okay. Okay.
Some of the chat room mentioned that apparently Charles Sandell had a free thing to do. So people want a soundbite of that.
Oh, they want that free. Okay, we have to do that. Yeah, we have to get free. Okay. All right. So anyhow, we're going to do some computer news now. So which story do you want to lead with, Ben?
Which story?
Or do you want?
I mean, I didn't watch the video. Apparently, you did. So I think you should lead with this one. But apparently, the Germans have figured out how to reverse aging.
Yes, I have. And as soon as I find that story, oh, here it is. Yeah, German. All right. Now, when you go to Dubai, and I haven't been to Dubai, but everything they do at Dubai, they as amazing as it might be, they just stick a lot of diamonds on it to make it even more. They'll take you have the world's really best cell phone out there, and then they take it and they stud it full of diamonds, and then they display it at Dubai. Well, evidently, opulence, yeah. Well, evidently, there's a German company developing something that they're calling the Human Regenerator that supposedly controls aging. I'm sorry,
that's a tall order.
That I'm not buying this at all. But I'm going to go because it's a news story, and it was on Bit Rebels. Had this story. Even the author who wrote this article says, I don't really understand this, but this is what they're saying. That supposedly it's like a you go into it like a coffin, I guess, but with a glass top. It's like a tanning booth or one of those things. You know, you will go into it. And according to the story, the System 4 Technologies recently showed off this pod at the World Luxury Expo held at the Abu Dhabi's Emirate Palace. Okay, and it looks like something out of a science fiction movie. Its purpose, evidently, is supposed to be something like that too, because by utilizing a technology by the name of quantum cell code, this is really, really bending my. Humans are apparently able to control aging. However, he says, don't be fooled. You can't stop aging altogether. But it is said that the apparatus can rejuvenate the cells in your body and at least slow it down. So, what is the thing, and how does it accomplish this almost holy grail-like miracle? Well, the author says he'll try to explain it to the extent that he understands it. Developers have used silicon and aluminum deposits, which supposedly help create the anti-aging effect. The human regenerator imitates the body's natural frequencies through quantum cell technology and longitudinal waves.
All right, you lost me.
Yeah, don't ask me how, but that's as much as the author understands. I watched the video, and they had one of these citizens from Abu Dhabi go in there, and he walked out, and she says, "So, how does it feel?" And he looked at it. He says, "Well, you know, I'm not sure." He says, "I felt something, but I don't really understand. I don't know what it is that I felt." You know, and I think it's the placebo effect. You know, or they're doing something in there. How are you going to know? Oh my God, I feel fantastic. I feel 10 years younger. No, you know, it's something that's very subtle, and you know, it's going to cost. Ask him what this thing is going to cost.
Craig, how much is this miracle cure going to cost?
$557,000. $557,000, and only 50 units will ever be created. So only 50 people are going to be able to go, you know, slow down the age.
Apparently, only 50 people are living to the age of 150.
And also, as I said, it was in Abu Dhabi. So this particular unit that they shot, it was pimped out with 6,880 carats worth of diamonds, which sets the price tag for this particular unit at around $10 million. Okay. Talk about, you have enough cash that you just need to toss it away. Well, have we something? And we also got a bridge in Brooklyn. I think that might be up for sale too. Can't really tell you for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised. There it is.
Like, if they can't explain how the science behind it works simply.
Well, they do. The quantum longitude.
That's not simply. That's throwing out even more. Quantum cell technology is nothing. That's nothing.
It means nothing. They got the word quantum in there, so it sounds really cool. You know.
If they can't explain what's happening, then it's probably kind of a hoaxy thing, which is probably good for you because I don't know many people who can just throw out $557,000 on a whim.
Yeah. Hey.
You know, it's not like this would be like the billionaire's late night infomercial. It's like they're flipping through, they're eating their tub of gold-plated ice cream, and they're flipping through the television channel, and between I don't know, exotic gladiators, between burly men and supermodel water skiing. This infomercial comes on for, hey, live longer, only 5 payments of $110,000. Like it's that kind of thing.
It's called the World Luxury Expo. So that's it. So that they have diamond-studded cell phones and diamond-studded who knows what. They take something and they stud it with diamonds, and now it's a luxury item. Unlike more reasonable like magazines like the Robb Report. I don't know if you actually read the Robb Report. That actually that's a magazine for it's a luxury magazine. They have some amazing things in there. I remember when I read the magazine, that was the first time I saw the advertisement for the world's first DVR. I mean, this is before DVRs. They're everywhere now. But it's called the Replay. It was called the Replay.
Greg, you're dating it.
They call it the Replay TV, and they advertised in the Rob Report. There was a story they advertised, and I went, "Oh my!" I mean, I saw it right away. I said, "Oh my gosh, this is gonna make the VCR obsolete," because that's all we had at the time was VCRs. This is gonna make VCRs obsolete. Can't wait till it comes out. And it only took.
You should have bought stock, Craig. Should have bought stock.
No, well, actually, Replay TV went out of business. No, they patented the technology, and then the players, when other companies started to incorporate their own technology, and TiVo came out, they basically supplied the software, and I think they eventually went out of business. But I read it first in the Rob Report. So these luxury things are great, but things like this. At Abu Dhabi, you got to take it with a grain of salt. I really don't think this is. I don't see anything here at this point. But,
Yeah, no, it's medical breakthroughs like that. I mean, medical breakthroughs are happening all the time.
Yeah.
But you're probably not going to hear them first at the luxury conventions.
Yeah, you're not.
This is probably along the same lines as like the Kardashians getting that blood, facial massage thing.
Exactly.
Nope. All right. So how about this one? This one's a little bit offbeat.
That wasn't offbeat.
It was still technology, science and technology.
Okay. All right.
It just had a big price tag to it. So this is a little bit more offbeat. Eye tracking. Eye tracking menus let you order pizza without thinking about it.
Ah.
Yeah. So this is from Popular Science.
Okay.
Sarah Fetch, and and she says apparently because the eyes are the windows to the stomach.
Yeah.
So sure, you could order a pizza instantly through your Xbox, or by using hand gestures on an interactive tablet tabletop at the restaurant. But what if you don't know what you want? Well, Pizza Hut wants to help you by reading your subconscious mind, and it's not creepy at all. Sounds creepy. The Hut's new tablet-based menu displays 20 ingredients and tracks the movement of your eyeball to see where they linger longest. Are you a vegetarian with a forbidden craving for pepperoni? You can't hide your dirty little secret from this app. After analyzing your eye movements for less than 3 seconds, the tablet will select your toppings, extra cheese, before your better judgment can kick in. But if you don't like the automatically generated pizza, you can stare at the restart button to start the process all over again. And they have a video of it from Toby. Didn't we just have them on?
Yes, we did have Toby on. Yeah.
Yeah. So a video from Toby.
That's right. They make the eye tracking technology. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got the makers of the eye tracking technology says it's like a magic, but without the weirdness.
Yeah, and you look at all the.
I guess at this point, again, if you want to hear more about Toby and all that they do, listen to one of our past shows where we had them on.
Yeah, exactly.
So the Washington Post reports that Pizza Hut has been testing the new tech in 300 locations across the UK. Apparently, 98% of the customers are satisfied with it.
Not nice. Wow.
98%.
Cool.
And for anyone wondering, there are not anchovies on here, so it's not going to be like you're staring at this thing and it's like, oh, no anchovies. Although they do have shrimp here.
Yeah, they have shrimp and olives. And
I wouldn't mind shrimp on my pizza. I would totally eat a shrimp pizza.
Well, and what is
that option here in the U.S.?
And on the top, is that tuna? That's not beef. Is that tuna on the top of the row there? It looks like cheese.
No, it's bacon, barbecue sauce, beef, like steak and cheese.
Oh, steak? Okay. Tuna. Oh, steak would be good on the pizza, I would think. I didn't know they offered steak on a pizza.
Again, this is apparently this launched in the UK, so toppings obviously vary.
Are you telling me I can't get steak on my pizza because I live in the U.S.?
I think you can, but they call it beef.
Beef, okay. Yeah, right.
It's not like you can get shredded, sliced steak.
Well, I like shredded. I like this is showing sliced steak. It looks very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, Toby, eye tracking pizza.
Eye tracking pizza. There you go. All right. Well, it's a. Okay. Well, speaking about things that, according to Maximum PC, this company called Mionix is aiming for the world's smartest mouse. I mean that they have a smart gaming mouse that knows when you're stressed out. Excuse me. I think anybody's playing a game is going to be stressed out.
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, you start playing with this mouse, and sorry, you're stressed out. You can't play the game. That would stress me out even more, I would think. But evidently, according to the story, Mionix is thinking about a bit outside the cage for its newest mouse, the Naos QG, or Quantified Gaming mouse, which is currently on Kickstarter seeking a $100,000 in funding. Now, described as the world's first smart mouse, the Naos QG is equipped with various sensors that track body reactions in order to provide deep insights into your gaming. It's a similar concept to tracking data on athletes and then using that data to improve their abilities. Okay, sounds idealistic, although it's certainly interesting. Now, the author, Paul Lilly, says that he's a fan of Mionix's mice, and the design of the Naos QG looks similar to other models that he's played with. What's different with this mouse, however, is that it has a heart rate sensor and 2 galvanic skin response sensors built into the palm area. If you use a claw grip, it doesn't look like these sensors will do you any good. Otherwise, they'll keep track of your heart rate and body reactions. A claw grip means the palm of your hand is above the surface of the mouth, not resting on it.
Do you do that?
No, I don't, actually. I don't. I rest my... I'm doing it right now.
Yeah, me too. Maybe I'm just lazy, but I too rest my hand.
Yeah, I rest my hand on the bottom of the mouse. Yeah, exactly. The mouse I have is set up so I can actually press on the back of it.
Oh, you have one of those ergonomics.
Yeah. Okay, now anyway, your information, by the way, is relayed via an on-screen overlay while you're in-game. You can customize the location, and if your stress data is through the roof, it will suggest that you take a break. Okay? Review the game on your own or with your teammates to understand when and why you are stressed. Make use of the data for efficient training and become a real gaming hero. Are you cool as a cucumber or a mental wreck when gaming? And Mionix asks that question. Now, the Naos QG will retail for $129, though there are still a few spots left to back the project at $79, although there are not many left, which will come with a mouse. If you miss out, there's an early bird $89 tier that also comes with a mouse and a wheel of brie. I'm just kidding about the wheel of brie. Okay. I don't know. What do you? I mean, you're the gamer. I mean, would you find this useful? To find that I mean, wouldn't you know you're already stressed out with having a mouse to tell you?
I mean, it's this could be good, but it probably wouldn't be useful in the long term. Like, it'd probably be good just for the initial, use it for a week and see your patterns and see, because especially when you're gaming and you want to get better at a game, when you're panicked, when you're, you're going around everywhere and you're not focused, it's better to be calm, collected, and just kind of analyzing everything than when you're panicking, reacting, and you're not thinking ahead.
Well, what about?
It sounds like this mouse will be able to keep track of just that.
Yeah, but when you use this mouse, you're giving up your gaming mouse that has all the buttons and the macros, everything. You use a lot of those things.
Exactly. That's why it wouldn't be good for the long term, because the long term you're going to want a mouse that has other capabilities. This seems like,
the diagnostic one.
Yeah, you don't go to a doctor's office and use the diagnostic equipment to treat your illness.
Right.
Same thing with this. You don't use this mouse. You wouldn't use this mouse for the long term.
Right. It would just detect what it is that you're having the problem at the moment, and you get an idea, and then you say, okay, this is what I need to do. Then you plug your gaming mouse back in and get stressed out again.
It would be, and I mean, it's interesting because everything that they were putting into this mouse, the heart rate monitors and the skin sensors, all those can already be found in wearable technology. It seems like they're putting it on top of a mouse.
Yeah. Okay.
So whether or not it's going to be successful, I mean, they're asking for $100,000. That's a pretty big goal for Kickstarter, but yeah, it's personally, no, I don't think this is going to be a thing.
Okay.
But I mean, if people fund it, that's the beauty of Kickstarter.
Okay.
They don't need Ben's approval.
Okay. All right.
All right. So, all right. We have this next story here, and it's wasn't going to do the Ferrari one, but instead we're going to do the James Bond one. Craig.
Yes.
There's a new James Bond movie was announced today.
Oh, that's with Craig. Daniel.
Yep. Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yep. And
bar looks amazing. Oh my.
Yeah, and the movie, the new James Bond, is going to be James Bond Spectre.
Okay.
That's the name of the movie.
Okay.
So yeah, just
Spectre is, of course, the extortion, and it stands for something. It's an acronym.
yeah.
It's and what we're seeing with the new James Bond, everything kind of starts. It's a reboot that they're doing. They're rebooting him and doing everything over again. And you see how everything kind of gets.
It's not your typical Pierce Brosnan.
No, it's not at all. Okay.
Which actually, I just saw a funny story about that. Apparently, Daniel Craig said that you can thank Austin Powers for the reboot of James Bond.
Why?
Because apparently, people couldn't separate James Bond from Austin Powers, and so they're like, okay, we got to reboot this. People are, mixing the two up.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's why you got more of the
Serious
action,
stuff.
the
Yeah.
kick butt guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. There's a new car out, and as you know, Aston Martin is one of the favored cars of James Bond. So the internet had something of a temper tantrum last week when word came out that Daniel Craig will drive a Fiat 500 in the upcoming James Bond film Spectre. Well, the internet can return to discussing more important matters, namely lightsabers. Thank you, Star Wars. Now that we have the official confirmation that 007 will spend at least some time driving an Aston Martin.
All right.
All right. So the British sports car maker announced today that it created the DB10 specifically for the upcoming film. That's different. The car unveiled at Pinewood Studios outside London resembles many concept cars that the author had seen recently. It's almost impossibly sleek with minuscule mirrors, blade-like spokes on the wheels, and the flush doors and the flush door handles. The DB10 design, with the help of Spectre director Sam Mendes, is certifiably sexy, and I would tend to agree.
Yeah, I would too.
But it's less muscular than Bond's best Aston, the glorious DB5.
Yeah.
So, you'll see the movie next year, but it could be longer, if ever, before you see the car. Just wait. Just 10 will be built. That's not many. All of them for the film. Ooh. And we're betting at least 70% of those won't survive to see the premiere, which is very true. James Bond movies have a tendency to blow up their cars.
Yeah. That's expensive.
Yeah, so, again, only 10 cars. Many, if not most of them, will be probably blown up or shot at or set on fire during the course of the movie. So the number of actual DB10s that will be, available for purchase, if ever, are going to be very small. But some kind of production version could be on the way. Aston Martin is in a transition moment with new leadership. Apparently Nissan and Tesla's people from Nissan and Tesla are coming over, and more importantly, new vehicle architecture on the way. The brand hasn't changed its underlying vehicle platform since 2001, an eternity, even in the slow-moving market of cars, and Bond's DB10 probably has that same skeleton underneath its sexy skin. Aston didn't say anything about what's beneath the sleek sheet metal. We don't know when the new architecture will be ready. 2016 is a good bet, but when it arrives, it could carry something like what you see here. The DB10 gives a glimpse to the future design direction for the next generation of Aston Martins, the company said. As with most concept cars that make it into production, that'll mean more conventional looks, mostly to meet safety regulations, of course, but if history's any guide, it'll still look good. And
talk about safety regulations. If you look at the side view mirrors, I mean, they look gorgeous, but you can't see. The mirrors are obviously way too small.
They're very thin.
They're very thin. So top to bottom, the mirror is only maybe like maybe an inch and a half or 2 inches.
Not even a hand width.
Yeah. So that's not going to cut it with the safety features, but still, it's a beautiful looking car. There's no question about it. But
and the door handles actually look like they're set into the door.
Yeah, now I've seen that before. They do have those, the handles, the recessed.
I've never seen ones like those where it's like completely.
Yeah, I've seen some. I've seen them on cars.
Yeah, Craig has. But yeah, no. Just all in all, it doesn't exactly look muscly. It's just a very minimalist, sleek design.
Yeah, it's beautiful. There's no question about it.
It has some edges. It has curves and it has edges.
Yeah, it does. And I like the spoke wheels because they don't necessarily meet in the center. They're sort of like staggered,
Pinwheel.
Pinwheel, kind of. So yeah,
Yep.
it is a beautiful car.
So again, next year or the year after, when you finally go see the new James Bond movie, you can keep an eye out for the new Aston Martins because something like them could be rolling out in the future.
Yep, exactly. All right. We'll continue on. Do we have time to? Well.
Yeah, you have time to start one.
Okay. This again from Popular Science. Google Cardboard is virtual reality on a budget. We've been talking about the virtual goggles from. I'm blocking the name now. Was it
virtual? Oculus Rift.
Oculus Rift, right? Well, evidently, a smartphone, a corrugated box, and you get an immersive experience. Instead of building a headset from scratch, Google created Cardboard, a complete virtual reality experience made from $25 worth of parts, a corrugated box, plastic lenses, rubber bands, glue, and magnets. A smartphone fits into the front of the box to serve as both the screen and the brains of the headset, and that's it. And then you have your virtual reality headset from Google. And for just like $25, and these beautiful glasses can be yours. Talk about disposable virtual glasses. Do you think to see something? I don't know. Why would you make that a cardboard?
Because it's easy, and I've actually seen these where like they ship them in everything. I mean, they have little lines where fold here, cut here. Put this together. They're very easy to put together.
Yeah, it is, and that's very cool. And they're available. I guess you can get them. Oh, I was reading the story about a high-speed camera that tracks light at 100 billion frames per second. Talking about that, can you imagine 100 billion frames per second? Evidently, that's slow enough to catch the motion of light.
Yeah, they actually have a video of it where it's bouncing off a mirror, and it's pretty crazy. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, this is 100 billion frames per second. So that's 100 billion pictures per second.
Wow.
This is like 10 trillion words.
Yeah. And some of the other stories coming up. Knock knock, who's there? It's Skybell version 2.0. We're going to be talking about that. And also, Spotify offers 3 months premium subscription for $1. Those stories and more coming up here on the Computer America Show. We're going to take a bottom of the hour break. You can listen to us on the Blog Talk Radio Network, the Boost Radio Network, or the IRN Radio Network. You listen to the Computer America Show. We will be right back after these words. Stay with us. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission is to protect and enhance the lives of companion animals and the people who love them. Their no-kill rescue shelter is open year-round, making it easy for people to adopt their best new friend. This year, Brother Wolf will find homes for over 2,400 orphan dogs, puppies, cats, and kittens. All have ended up as an orphan through no fault of their own. Brother Wolf has created a safe, nurturing environment where these special animals can heal emotionally and physically until they find a lifelong home. Their life-saving transport program brings dogs and puppies from overcrowded shelters in the south to rescues in the north where homes are easier to find. Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is a 501c3 organization. To learn more about their life-saving work and to make a donation, visit their website at www.bwar.org. That's www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-866-663-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So, disable the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99 and up to 4 rooms. And there's no equipment to buy. That includes your free HD TV upgrade, your free DVR upgrade, and your free professional installation. And the best part, the pristine digital picture and sound. Call 1-866-663-MyTV. So, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-866-663-MyTV. 1-866-663-MyTV. Disable the cable, cut costs, and get more. Call 1-866-663-MyTV. 1-866-663-MyTV.
Hey, you. This is Marty Winston with a news tips bulletin review for Computer America, this time the 180S Bluetooth ear warmer headset. If you ever try to slip earbuds inside your earmuffs, you know that no success at that lasts very long, and sometimes one or the other can make it hard to wear a warm hat. 180S managed to put a USB rechargeable battery, a fixed volume amplifier so your music source controls the volume, and a Bluetooth receiver inside some effective ear warmers, the kind that go behind your neck and stay on with a little spring tension in the band. We should add, they're adjustable. That tension also results in good coupling to the ears, and the audio we heard was amazingly good for such a strange marriage of purposes. Bottom line, the 180S Bluetooth ear warmers will keep your ears from turning blue in the cold and you from feeling those I miss my earbud blues. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. Thank you, Marty Winston, yet again. We'll be hearing that one more time before it goes the way of the archive. But right now we're doing computer and technology news, brought to you by Slimmer Utilities. And, Craig kind of teased it before the break, but this is a really cool one. And that's high-speed camera tracks light at 100 billion frames per second.
I can't even conceive how fast that must be. That is amazing.
Okay, well, let's put it this way. You know how long it takes to look at a picture?
Yeah.
Maybe a second, maybe two. Now, imagine 100 billion pictures lined up on a wall in front of you, going from left to right, and you just looked at 100 billion pictures.
Man.
And 100 billion pictures were generated every second that you're using this equipment. It is, that is a massive amount of information.
Yeah.
So, let's do the story here. So for most of us, high-speed image capture, say 120 or 100 or 240 frames per second, is enough to get a good look at stuff happening in the blink of an eye. Like water droplets hitting the ground or a Bijan Frise snagging his favorite ball.
Right.
For faster subjects, industrial-strength high-speed cameras can grab tens of thousands of frames per second. But when your rapidly moving target is light itself, you're going to need something a bit quicker.
A bit.
To the tune of 100 billion frames per second.
Yeah, the camera that stopped the bullet, you've seen that we're hitting an apple and then puncturing an apple. That I think is around 10,000 frames a second. That's what you're talking. That'll stop the motion of a bullet. But this is just.
This is stopping the speed of light.
No, that's it.
So using a technique called compressed ultra-fast photography.
At least they didn't call it quantum.
Yeah, at least they didn't call it quantum photography. Researchers at Washington University in St. Louis can track light as it travels and interacts with objects. It's a new spin on the streak camera method where a sensor moves along the light to record its motion. Previous streak camera setups have been limited to narrow one-dimensional views, but the CUP technique allows for two-dimensional image capture. One example video shows a laser pulse sauntering by and reflecting off a mirror in a few tens of a picosecond, or trillionths of a second. And they actually have a video here of the laser beam. It actually goes, you see the laser travel, hit the mirror, and reflect back. And that's, you can always assume that happens, but when something's traveling at the speed of light, to the naked eye, that just looks, you just see the reflection on the ground behind you, or wherever the mirror is.
I'm looking at the video now.
Oh yeah, no, it's only about 3 seconds long, but it's
a vine. Exactly.
It's impressive. It's impressive nonetheless. So far, researchers have used this technique to explore a handful of phenomena, including how light reflects and refracts as well as how photons behave when transitioning from one medium to another, e.g. from air to a resin. Nature reports that the cup technique could be used in the development of so-called invisibility cloaks that work by bending light around objects. We've talked about those before as well. So while it may not be the absolute fastest high-speed camera system currently out there, there's one faster.
How can that be? Wow.
Okay, perhaps someday it'll get a bit closer to realizing those Star Trek Harry Potter dreams. And they have a link to the fastest one apparently. And apparently this was published August 12th, 2014. And apparently this camera can snap chemical reactions at a trillionth of a second.
Oh my gosh! Look at this.
So yeah, apparently, apparently even faster.
Now it's a single shot. This is not a video camera. It's a
no, it's single shot.
Single shot. Yeah.
It does burst, so it's like shot, 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 and then done.
Yeah, at a trillionth of a second.
But it's not like but it's not a video of 1,000 frames per second, but it's making a clump of photographs.
Yeah, still, I mean, both impressive, but I mean, wow, that is absolutely amazing.
Technology's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Like you hear stories like that, and you think, all right, maybe we are getting closer to immortality. But then you hear about, apparently we're using aluminum and silicon to regenerate cells with quantum cell regeneration. And you're like, technology ain't that far yet.
Yeah. So this is 100 billion frames a second, where the other camera is a trillionth of a second. So the other camera you couldn't capture the motion of the video like you can.
Yeah, no, it was just they're all sequentially time stamped.
Yeah.
At 450 by 450 pixels. But again, they're photos like you'd have to go in and put them into a movie yourself to.
Well, it's amazing to watch that laser beam bounce off a wall. I mean, like.
Oh yeah, you never think it, because again, if you just take a laser beam and you point it at a mirror, like to you. As soon as you turn that laser beam on, you instantly see it somewhere else in the room.
Exactly, instantly, yeah.
Whereas this camera can actually slow it down, and you can actually see
it
hitting and reflecting.
Absolutely amazing. Well, you want to hear something absolutely incredibly amazing?
Yeah.
According to Gizmodo, you remember the big break-in we talked about Sony, and they were hacked and everything, and and they think it's the North Koreans, but they're not sure, Well, get this. It's been a rough week for Sony, $1 million salaries notwithstanding. Again, this is according to Gizmodo. And evidently things are only going to get worse, according to this story. Wait till you hear this. Which would almost be enough to make you feel bad for the poor people in their IT department. That is, until you realize that they hid their most sensitive password data. They hid their most sensitive password data under a file labeled passwords.
I don't think that's really hiding now, is it?
And he says, the officer says, go ahead and slam your head against something hard. We'll wait. Good gosh, man. The second trove of data snuck out sometime yesterday, and it didn't take long for BuzzFeed to stumble upon the Facebook, MySpace, an ancient form of Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, usernames and passwords for major motion picture social accounts in a file called passwords, likely due to the fact that they were saved in a huge file called password, which contained even more passwords called things like Facebook login password. So they would know that that was the password, because who needs encryption or security or common sense or even the vaguest attempt at grade school level online safety? Yep, password should do just fine. Hey, I have an idea. Maybe stick a number 1 on the end of the word so that it'll be password 1. That'll throw them off.
Yeah, numbers and letters, folks.
Yeah, password 1. That should do it. Of course, and unfortunately, it shouldn't really be a surprise that humans are lazy and unimaginative and just generally the worst when it comes to protecting our precious online data. And yet, Sony IT, you had just one job to do, and boy, did you blow it big time. I can't believe that. They everything unpassed. This is a story again from today from Gizmodo.
You'd be surprised, especially in the corporate world, how a secure, complex, like many things, like locking doors or backup keys and things like simple things. You'd be surprised how often they are simple solutions to it because people are lazy.
Yeah.
People are lazy.
Jonathan said he would hide his passwords in a folder called Grandma's Fruitcake Recipe.
Exactly. It's somewhere at least a little bit more sneaky.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe that the Sony and the IT people working. These are highly paid professionals would do something as stupid as that.
Yeah, it's I mean, at least put it in there and then make it like a joke folder. It's like
Yeah.
like maybe like a GIF of in Jurassic Park, like say the, like something like that. But no, it's legit. Just all the passwords in one nicely organized folder.
Called password. Okay.
Yep. So here's one that was interesting. I didn't know they could do this, but apparently it's the first time happening in the court system.
Yeah.
A DNA test that distinguishes identical twins may be used in court for the first time.
Oh.
Yeah. So in 2004, 2 young women were abducted at gunpoint while walking home near Boston at night.
Mm-hmm.
The crimes happened 8 days apart, but the pattern was the same. The women were shoved into a car by 2 men, pistol whipped, driven to a different location, and raped. While collecting her clothes, the second victim managed to grab the condom one of the men had worn. She hid it in her pocket and turned it in as evidence.
Oh my God.
One of the 2 men involved pleaded guilty to the attacks in 2010, and the other remained at large. So they had a suspect, but they couldn't pin the crime on him due to a twist of genetic fate. He had an identical twin brother, and DNA from the from the condom matched both siblings.
Okay.
But now, a decade after the assault, scientists have developed a genetic technique that could distinguish between 2 identical twins, and it may be used in court for the first time.
Wow.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it is.
So, the article's kind of long, kind of going into that, but I'm pretty sure that's just the gist of it.
Yeah, it says the second suspect is this 33-year-old, and he was arraigned on 8 counts of aggravated rape and 2 counts of armed robbery.
So they got the guy, yeah.
They got the guy, yeah, and they used this. I didn't realize that it was with identical twins, the DNA would be that closely identical. Evidently it is, but evidently they got a test now that will show between the 2.
Well, I mean, I know little to nothing of science, but I'm pretty sure identical twins, if they're from the same zygote, it's just they split and then they were 2. So it's from the same base material.
Well, do identical twins? Here's one, Ben. Do identical twins have the same fingerprints?
Yes, they do.
Really?
Yep.
I did not know that.
No, they don't. I don't know. What?
I did not.
That's what Google's for.
I don't think they do. I think even identical twins don't have the same fingerprints. No.
Let's see. MZ twins share the same genetic makeup, DNA, because they are formed from a single zygote, or a fertilized egg, as I just said. However, fingerprints are not an entirely genetic characteristic. They are determined by the interaction of genes in the developmental environment of the womb, so they are not the same.
Aha. There you go. Okay.
But, I mean, if any 2 fingerprints were going to be the same, they'd probably be between 2
twins. But they're not.
But they're not. So, and of course, the article also says, now the question is, will the genetic test be admissible in court? It would be the first time it's been used in the United States. A preliminary hearing had been scheduled for January 12, 2015, after which a judge will decide whether evidence from the test is admissible. So, the experts in the case are hoping that this holds up. So, it may not even go through.
Really?
But I mean, it's the first time that this kind of test has been used.
Wow, very cool. Well, it's about time we get to that.
Well, and again, the basics behind the DNA was, 2, twins from the same zygote. Their DNA is supposed to be pretty much indistinguishable, but yet they found a way to do it.
Yep.
That's important in science.
And in law and in criminology, exactly.
Yep.
Cool. Well, this one from TechHive. Didn't our guest in the first hour say he worked with TechHive? It was
Yeah, no, he worked for TechCrunch.
TechCrunch. Okay, TechCrunch. Okay. Evidently, Spotify is offering a 3-month premium subscription for $1. Wow. They're looking to lock up some new premium subscribers by offering 3 months of the service for 99 cents. Not even $1. It's a penny less. The deal is available through the 31st of December, but note the fine print. You can't take advantage if you've ever subscribed to Spotify Premium before or have signed up for a free trial of 30 days or longer. And once you sign up and put your credit card on file, Spotify will automatically bill you at the regular $10 per month price after the first 3 months. Still, the offer is worth considering if you've only been using the free version of Spotify, because with Premium you can access the full on-demand catalog on smartphones, whereas the free version only offers shuffle playlists and radio stations. Premium also removes the advertisements and lets you stream at much higher bit rates, which basically means better audio quality. Some other features are also hidden behind the Premium paywall. You'll need a subscription to use Spotify with Sonos, the home system audio system, and with TV set-top boxes such as the new Fire TV Stick. Spotify's new Uber integration, which lets riders play their music through the car stereo system, requires a premium subscription as well. So there's a story behind the story, according to this article. Spotify is about to face some fresh competition from YouTube, which is now rolling out premium services called Music Key. Though it's only in a limited beta for now, it's arguably the biggest threat yet to Spotify, as YouTube is already the world's largest streaming music service. I didn't know that. Spotify's holiday promotion is one way to pull in some new subscriptions before Music Key goes public. Wow.
Good deal.
Have you used Music Key so far? Or YouTube?
Wait, use what?
YouTube's as the streaming music service.
I have not tried that. Like, I look at music all the time on YouTube, but I've never tried their actual streaming service.
Now I think about it, when I go looking for music, so I'll go to if I'm online here and I got to find it real fast, I'll go to the YouTube site, I'll type the name in, and I get it really fast. It doesn't cost anything,
Yeah.
So that's maybe it. So you can get streaming music via YouTube, but the premium service called Music Key is obviously going to have some additional features. But anyway, there it is.
All right. Real quick, we have a little question in the chat room. It's a technical issue,
Okay.
and apparently one of our listeners he's using an AMD graphics card, and it's using the ATI software, the ATI Catalyst software, and AMD Catalyst software. That kind of stuff is for controlling your graphics cards, because most graphics cards that come out nowadays have their own software built into them to control them. Fan speed and everything that goes on, because graphics cards are incredibly robust nowadays. So he says that his problem, though, is that the program Catalyst, the one that's actually supposed to control the whole thing, tends to crash on boot up. Not the graphics card, but the program that controls the graphics card crashes on boot up. And it shows up the Windows error, and it does that thing where it's like searching the internet for possible solutions, that kind of thing, which is not really useful. And so he says that he's tried uninstalling the program and reinstalling, tried using CC Cleaner and Slim Cleaner, Slimware Utilities, and that kind of thing. Rebooted, reinstalled, did all that kind of thing. He's also made sure that he had the latest version of drivers and software, and he does. And he actually checked out on the AMD forums that others have similar issues, but no solution was posted yet.
Well, the mere fact that other users are having a similar situation, that means that there's a problem going on, obviously. And now he's using Windows 7 64-bit version of it. So when he installs the problem, then it goes back using the driver that's built into the card, right? So then he has no problem.
Yeah, I think it's a problem with the actual Catalyst software that that helps you helps you with overclocking and things like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it sounds like this problem kind of sprung up out of the blue because you wouldn't try to update it to the latest version, all that kind of stuff, unless you were having problems controlling it. Like you didn't just update it and then after the update it started having problems, because then you could just kind of say, oh hey, the latest version probably isn't stable. I need to go back to the next version.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming that's not the problem. It might be, they might have pushed out an update somewhere along the line, and it was like a really small one, probably updated without you noticing, and there was a bug, and you probably have to wait for it. Or, I mean, you do what one of our other listeners suggested, which is go back to an earlier version.
That's what I would have suggested, to go back to an earlier version, and when will you know that it was working, and go from there. Now, if you go back to the earlier version, it should work because it was working before. If for some reason you go back to the earlier version and you have a crash, then what happens? Then something else is interfering with its operation. But
I can't imagine too many other programs and things like that interfering with. Because this one is probably it's a program that links the operating system to the graphics card. Like I can't imagine there's many programs that could be interfering with that link.
Or you had a Windows update came by, and so
maybe it was Windows updated something and buggered it.
The only way you're going to know, you've got two unknown quantities. It's either your OS or the graphics card. I would say go back to the version where you knew that it was working. Go back there and then run it. If you still have a problem there, then obviously something in Windows, you had an update in Windows, and that's interfering it. You could do a rollback, and try that, and that might be able to help it. But that would be I would say try one at a time first. I would say first go back to the earlier version of the Catalyst Control Center and see if that works, and go from there. Who is that, Jonathan? That's Jonathan. Okay.
Jonathan Chatter.
All right, you got a story? You got a story next.
Yep, we got a story next. I had one, and then I didn't. How about this one, where privacy policy?
Okay.
This is scary. Apparently half of Americans don't know what a privacy policy is. It sounds funny, but apparently half is a big number, and I'm sure they're shuffling data, and hopefully no one on this show would make that mistake. But apparently people think that if a company has a privacy policy, automatically that means that all of your data that they collect from you is private, which is not the case.
Yep. And
the article, this one from Time, saying that it doesn't automatically keep your data confidential.
Especially Sony. Especially, tell this to Sony.
Oh yeah, well that's a whole other thing. So it looks like Facebook's privacy-focused Blue Dinosaur has some more work to do, as a new survey from Pew Research Center finds that 52% of American internet users don't actually know what a privacy policy is. A majority of respondents believe that when a company posts a privacy policy, quote, it ensures that the company keeps confidential all information it collects on you. Only 44% of survey respondents knew the answer was false. A privacy policy simply states that whatever rules a website has drafted to determine how it will share and use people's data. Such policies often include fine print that actually make people's data less private than they might expect, allowing it to be used in ads or handed off to third parties. Look, a privacy policy is their policy on privacy. It can contain anything. Like it can say in there in big bold letters,
you don't keep your stuff private. Yeah.
And that is still technically a privacy policy.
Right. It's saying we're not going to keep your stuff private, and that's our privacy policy.
Exactly. It doesn't mean that their policy is privacy. That's just their policy on privacy.
Exactly.
And it blows my mind that 44% of people got that one wrong. But so with so few people understanding how privacy policies work, it's no wonder that a bogus Facebook post proclaiming to protect people's copyright went viral this week. Users erroneously believed that invoking a specific intellectual property statute would retroactively protect their photos and other media from being used on Facebook. In fact, users already own all the content they put on Facebook, but the social network reserves the right to use that content for activities related to its business. Yeah. And users all agreed to the stipulation when they accepted, you guessed it, the privacy policy. And what they're referring to is this thing went viral where, and I actually had a couple people on my friends list, kind of do this too, and I had to kind of take them off to the side and explain to them why it was bogus, was that, they pretty much copy and pasted a statute from some legal textbook that said, I do not give permission to Facebook to use anything that I've ever posted or will post. It was all legal jargon. And just because you post it on your timeline doesn't mean that Facebook has to agree to any such crap. Nope. The only person that agreed to anything was you, the user. When you, the user, goes to iTunes and you hit accept, accept, accept without reading the 45-page essay they put in front of you, you accept all of their privacy policy.
Well, because if you don't accept it,
Facebook,
because if you don't accept it, guess what? You can't use.
You can't use it.
Yeah, I mean that's it. So
they have you over a barrel, and they can have you accept anything.
Yeah, really. If you want to use it, if you don't want to use it, then don't accept it. But guess what? You're not using it. That's it.
Yeah, but so Facebook, as soon as you hit create account, you automatically accept everything that is in their privacy policy, which includes they are allowed to use any photos that you put up in their business.
That's it. Yeah, it's their
That's
property.
just how it is.
Their property. That's how it works. Either that or just don't use Facebook. And I know a lot of people don't because of that reason.
But again, just because someone has a privacy policy, unless you read it and understand what it says, don't just assume that they have your best interest at heart.
Yeah.
It's probably not the case 99% of the time. Except for
for
Computer America. We have one, but we tell you what's in it pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, when you register for a contest, we don't give that information out to anybody except if you're a winner, and then we'll give them your contact information. And then that's
90 seconds.
That's it. Okay. Well, we're about out of time. Again, I want to thank Eric Schoenfeld from the demo convention talking to us. That was a lot of fun. And coming up tomorrow night, Pop Zara is going to be here. Nathan Evans from Pop Zara magazine. He's a fun guy, and he's got a lot of interesting stories that we're going to be talking about in the computing world, and including movies, because we like to talk about movies on Friday night, So
60 seconds.
Yeah, so hopefully you'll join us tomorrow night. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and hopefully we'll see you with us tomorrow night. And Nathan Evans, he's going to be here for both hours of the show, so that's going to be a fun program. Nate's always has fun stuff to talk about. So that wraps it up, huh? I'm sorry? Agreed. Yeah, he does. Yeah, and he's one of our correspondents here on the Computer America show. He became a correspondent almost like by default. He kept filling.
He has so much to say. He couldn't fit it into one time, so now we have him on every month.
That's it. There you go. Well, anyway, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow night on Friday. So until tomorrow night, this is Craig Crossman hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. Have a great evening. Say goodnight, Ben.
Say goodnight, Ben.
10 seconds.
Say you made it. Good night, everybody.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Okay, and again, thanks everybody for watching us on our live video streaming page, and we will see you tomorrow night, Friday. Bye, everybody.
Bye.